Welcome back to another episode of Real Estate Riches Roadmap. And I have to admit, this is going to be one of my favorite podcasts because with us, we have a very, I would call her a relentless / savvy / successful guest who's successful in not only the real estate agent business, but she's also a pretty successful real estate investor as well. And so along with myself and Ed, and also too, this is also one of the first podcasts that we're going to do without our illustrious partner, Sam.
Yeah.
So this will be interesting to see how this
Where
goes.
is he today?
I don't know where he went. I think we made him go for a run for lunch for us because we're all starving and we haven't eaten yet. So Sam is being our gopher today. So we're going to have a podcast without Sam. And so I want to just introduce myself. You guys know me as Charlie. Ed, introduce yourself really quick.
I'm Ed Grass. I'm the mean lawyer, I guess. Is that good enough?
Not really.
Okay.
He is a lawyer, but he's not your lawyer.
Oh, there you go.
So that's Ed Grass.
But I am a teacher now. I'm at Clear Sky Education, one of our group of 3 that leads these classes and tries to, teach general concepts of the law and property and all that other fun stuff. There you go. How's that?
And so with us, again, is a very successful real estate investor as well as a successful real estate agent, Lauren. And so, Lauren, why don't you introduce yourself and say hi to the fans that you cannot see?
I'm Lauren Colazas. I've been a real estate agent for going on 20 years in Northern Virginia. And I'm a blossoming real estate investor also.
You are.
Yeah.
You are. And so let's start with your beginnings. And so we talked about some pretty good stories. Mm-hmm. First of all, take us from where you went to college and then where your first job was and then how you even got into real estate. That is a fascinating story in itself.
Okay. So I went to Virginia Tech. I studied marketing management. I graduated in, it's not a good sign when it's hard to remember, 2002.
I'm 1989.
Yeah.
When are you?
90.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're much older than
Okay.
us.
Now I'm feeling very young.
You're much older than us.
Graduated with a degree in marketing management from Virginia Tech. And then, as one does, I moved back home with my parents and became a waitress.
And that was at Delaware.
In Delaware.
Okay, in
Yeah.
Delaware. So now we're back in Delaware. Okay.
Back in Delaware, Wilmington, Delaware. I eventually got a little apartment by myself and I was waiting tables at a brewery and had no plans of getting into real estate. I actually had a little handbag line that I was trying to launch on the side. And I never told you that.
No. Okay.
Entrepreneurial from the beginning.
That's important. Good. Okay.
Well, my dad was an entrepreneur. He had his own business. My stepdad also had his own business. So my dad was an attorney with his own practice. My stepdad.
And that's hard. I did not know that. That is a hard thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he had 15 people working for him. So I would say that's a decent sized
That's a great firm. And how about your stepdad?
Yeah.
What did he do?
a dentist, also with his own practice.
Right. So you've had entrepreneurship all throughout your life. Is that why you went and majored in marketing? Why did you major in marketing?
I don't know.
Oh, that's okay. All right.
Just because, you're 18 and have no idea what
You
to
got
do.
to do something.
It seemed like it gave me lots of options, I guess. So that's why I did it.
Makes sense.
And I think I feel like it was a good education to get. So anyway, I was working at a brewery, waiting tables in Wilmington, Delaware. Had no plans of getting into real estate, didn't know anything about real estate. And so as I was telling you guys before, on Fridays, there was a poker game at this brewery. And it was like...
Was it 7-card Hold'em? Was it like a tournament or were they playing for money? What were these guys doing?
I think they were playing for money. I'd have to, I'm still friends with my
And it
former
started
boss.
at what time? 10 a.m.?
Yeah.
But wait a
10
minute.
a.m.
How many breweries do you know that opens at 10 a.m.?
I don't know, but I need a list.
So you were there
Wilmington's
at,
a small town. I'm sure they were all
so you were there at
friends.
10 a.m.
Yeah.
waiting on these guys. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I feel like there were like 5 to 10 of them that would play poker, and they would play from like 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Wow.
I'm assuming they were wifeless?
Maybe that
I don't
was
know
it
about
there.
that.
Okay.
It was like their version of golf, I guess.
Makes sense.
I like
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you were saying that maybe these guys didn't tip very well. They would get
Right.
drunk.
So I clearly remember crying in the bathroom at work because I got the poker game and I didn't want to wait on the poker game because sometimes they would have a little too much to drink. And then at the end of your 12-hour shift, you wouldn't get tipped very well.
But were you doing other tables too?
I think if you had the poker game, you had like one or two other tables.
Yeah, but you can't make any money doing that.
No. So there was a chance that you would work all day and like not make much money. And I was
great.
literally living on waitress tips. So I had to
Right.
like pay my rent with it.
That's right. Because you
very
had, at
stressful.
this point, you had an apartment, right?
I had a little apartment, yeah,
Wow.
with my friend.
Oh, that's no good.
So, yeah, but I bet now today, would you have gone up and be like, hey, you forgot the tip? Are you, I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Yeah. Be like, hey,
Yeah, no, today.
but when you're young, yeah, you're so tentative about all that stuff. Yeah.
But this is actually great because we've done the roadmap, right? The roadmap to wealth and real estate investing. And so it's funny because we all have this roadmap, which is the story of our lives and how we got into real estate and what really drives us today. And this is going to lead into, I think, an entrance into maybe real estate, right? So tell me what happened at this poker table and how that translated into something in the future.
So there was a guy named Rob who
Okay,
played
Rob.
poker.
Rob is his name, not what he does.
Right.
He'd be your hero.
Rob is his name.
Not what he does.
I love Rob. Rob was like a great person to work for, a wonderful human being.
Well, how old is Rob at this point? Was he 40s, 50s, 60s? Like
He was probably in his 40s, maybe, because he had.
he's in his
he had two
40s
young-
and he's playing poker from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on a Friday?
Jealous.
Yeah.
You're just jealous.
I guess so. I
Yeah.
wouldn't have the attention
So
span.
was he the real estate guy, Rob, or
Yeah,
was
he
it-
was a contractor.
So Rob was a contractor. Okay, then what happened?
He said, and this was like getting into the evening, do you want a job in real estate? And I think I was just like, yes, I do. I don't want to do this
But
anymore.
first, give me my tip. Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, but how long had you been working at this brewery? 2 months, 1 month, 1 week, 3 weeks?
I mean, at least
Approximately.
6 months.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I worked there like 6 to 9 months.
Oh, so
maybe.
he knew you, he kind of liked you. He thought, okay, you'd be good at whatever he wanted you to do.
Yeah, we'd seen each other before, and it's a small town. It's like
Yeah.
in Greenville, Delaware. There's like this one little like strip mall thing.
Awesome.
This is the place where people would hang out.
Okay.
So yeah, I was like, yes, I do want a job in real estate. I want any other job. And he said, oh, my wife will call you. And then she did. She called me, I think, the next day, and I went over and met them. And I worked in their basement, like this.
Shocker.
Yeah. I was doing administrative stuff, QuickBooks, reviewing settlement statements, which I definitely did not know how to do.
That's okay.
And
Did they
then-
teach you or did you just sort of figure it out?
I think they went over it with me a few times, but I remember like never quite feeling comfortable doing it.
Right,
I mean,
of course.
I had never bought a house. I didn't know anything about
Right, of course. Then nobody understands all these damn line items on a HUD
Yeah.
1 or a settlement statement.
Yeah.
We don't know what all this stuff means. Title insurance, lenders, owner.
I
what the hell is
know
that?
the number where it says how much money's coming.
What's a title?
Yeah, the
What's
most
a title exam? What's a title this? What's a
Yeah.
deed preparation fee? What's a transfer tax? What's a
Yeah.
too many line items.
Yeah.
Then they all can change,
Yes.
depending upon the lender.
Yep. And I did, so he built property and then he owned a bunch of investment properties like in downtown
Okay.
Wilmington. So I was in charge of managing his rentals for him also.
Which, oh, by the way, if I said that downtown Wilmington is a nice, beautiful environment, would that be a true statement?
No.
Okay, no. So we're not in the best of neighborhoods.
And did I hear you saying before you would go around and collect rent?
Yeah, so if someone hadn't paid their rent, my little skinny, like 22-year-old self would go down and knock on the door and ask what was going on.
Man, that's talk about entrepreneurial spirit.
How many rental properties did he have?
It wasn't a ton, maybe like 5.
Yeah, it was still.
Still,
Yeah.
a one would be plenty for me to be like, where's the dough?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
so,
it didn't occur to me until much later that was probably
well, this isn't
not a great idea. and
Yeah, but
dangerous.
this isn't a bad start, though. You get experience with a settlement statement. Not bad. You get experience with somebody who's an investor who owns rental properties. So I guess
Distressed home wasn't paid the rent.
people not paying the rent, so
Yeah.
you got some lawyers here,
Yeah.
and you're a daughter of a lawyer, so that's pretty good. So you've sort of started your foundation of being well-rounded,
Yeah.
and then how long did you stay with him?
I think I was with him for a year.
Uh-huh.
And then I was just kind of ready to get out of, my small hometown. And since I had gone to Virginia Tech, I had friends who lived locally in Falls Church.
Right. Right.
They had an empty room for
Oh, fun.
$400 a month or something. And so I found like a temporary job down here, and then I ended up finding another job in real estate.
Makes sense. So
Yeah.
so the Virginia Tech's in Blacksburg, Virginia. We have a lot of Washington D.C. transplants. A lot of friends move, to Northern Virginia. Okay.
Yeah.
So after that, did you now then start at RGS Title?
I had a very temporary like event planning position. It was just
for American.
seasonal at American University. And then when I was there, I don't even know if it still exists. Monster.com was like
Oh yeah.
a thing.
Oh yeah.
So I remember being recruited. I had my resume on there, and someone recruited me through Monster.com to go work for RGS
I think
Title.
we still
Great.
put resumes on Monster.com.
Or something, or,
I didn't know
or
if
whatever
it
the
was still-
current version
Yes,
of
we
that
do
is.
that sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Monster.com. Matter of fact, that was the technology platform for engineers. So like if you had an engineering degree or you're a software engineer or anything like that, or database engineer, you would put your resume on Monster.com because at the time, all the technology companies and the headhunters were looking on Monster. And so you could just jump from job to job to job, make more and more money.
Well,
They were the best at the time.
And to interrupt here, what I love about this story, and I think is so important for our students and others, obviously, and enough is a humble beginning, and you learn wherever you go. You know, like Charlie's a tech guy by background. I was a lawyer, did nothing in real estate. You slowly got into real estate. That you can come from anywhere to do this. I mean, real estate's the kind of thing. And any skill you have will be useful. You had some good direct ones, but just knowing how to talk to people is a huge part of real estate, right? And a lot of people have jobs that don't do it. Mr. Tech Man over here knows how to work numbers in a spreadsheet, and he's also very good at talking to people.
Oh, yeah.
Were you originally anyway? Well, I'm not going to interview you.
No, but I think you're absolutely right. Because what we're going to go ahead and close up on later is that these job experiences, these life experiences, what this all does is this builds up what you have today. And I knew it when you first came on as a student, is you've got this thing called EQ, right? That's your emotional quotient, right? Everybody can have IQ, but like they always say in school, it's not necessarily the valedictorians and the salutatorians that do well in life. It's the people that have the high EQ. And so as we're going through your story, which is a fascinating story, is you obviously have the EQ, and that's going to go ahead and parlay this into what you're doing today. So when did you get the job at RGS Title? After American?
Yeah, so this was all in 2004.
Okay.
I got the job at RGS Title, so I was like a marketing girl. I would go around to the real estate offices and pass out candy and organize lunches, take people to the Gold Cup
Well, yeah, I've
on
been
a
to
bus.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love
It was a
it.
really fun job for organized happy hours.
We were in real
Someone
estate
in
in
their
2004. I never got an invite to your Gold Cup.
Yeah, you were nobody back then.
I know. Were you selling real estate?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was. I was a small little tiny agent for our own brokerage called Green Dot Realty.
Yeah, and you're an agent
so-
now. Was that when you started with, let's say, get your agent license, or how did
It
that
wasn't my plan. So I worked for RGS for a couple of years, and then I was actually recruited by one of the agents that I would market to.
Oh,
So there was like
were they a higher producing agent?
high-ish, yeah.
To do what?
To do marketing and like
Oh.
listing coordination for their team.
Okay, fun. So
Yeah,
now-
so it felt like a step up from what I was doing.
okay.
Yeah, so so that's when they brought me on as like a salaried employee for the team, and then while I was there, I got my license in DC actually, and so I started selling property like condos in DC to
Oh, that's good. I didn't know that either. Do you still have your license in DC?
no.
Okay.
I got rid of it on purpose so that I would not go there.
It's a specialized market. Actually, we've done fine, but yeah, I know what you mean. It's very different. As the lawyer, I can tell you, all these jurisdictions are very different. Like
Oh, yeah.
Maryland is very different than
Yeah.
Virginia, for example.
Oh yeah, no, I have a funny story for you.
Yeah.
That's going to bring me to a funny story. So, and it has to do with Sam Jackman being a partner in all this Clear Sky stuff that we have. We have a rule. He lives in Burke, Virginia, which is a little bit closer to Washington D.C. than Woodbridge, Virginia. So early on in our partnership, we both agreed that we would just draw a line on the Fairfax County Prince William border, that anything south, Fairfax and south, I would handle, and I would go there no matter where it was. And anything north of Burke and Fairfax, he would go.
No, I didn't know
So
that.
Sam does all the Maryland trips. He does all of the Washington, D.C. trips. So like you, I don't really have to show back up in Washington, D.C. And I'm okay with that.
I have a feeling he was questioning his decision making after
Especially
that.
now.
Yeah.
Probably.
Especially now with 2 nails in his nice BMW tires, I probably shouldn't talk about, and the expensiveness, like full $500 a tire.
Now I have
now
to be
it's
Mr.
$600.
Happiness without Sam here. But so then you started with DC, but you have Virginia now as your license.
Correct, yeah.
Right.
And I kept DC for a long time. So this was I got my license in 2007.
Oh,
And I sold a lot of condos to my friends in their 20s.
oh,
That's good.
But then 2008 and 9 hit. Then what? What happened? Yeah, it did.
Then you lost their phone number. Sorry.
Yeah, then what happened?
No, I feel like we bounced back like pretty well here.
Yeah, DC did pretty well. I
The condo
guess.
I bought did not bounce back
Oh, wait a
for
minute.
like 14 years, but
Oh,
it felt like that was the only one. I feel like everyone else was.
Where did you
okay.
buy your condo? In D.C.?
No, in Alexandria, on Van Dorn Street.
Oh, okay, Van Dorn Street. Well, that's funny because that's one of the first things when the market hits a bad cycle. I always know when the market hits a bad cycle because condo inventory rises. Inventory in the outer suburbs, which today we call the exurbs, that inventory rises. And that's how we kind of know that we're entering into maybe a neutral declining market. And so that's interesting. So that's good though. How old were you when you bought your condo?
I was 24.
Okay, so now you own real estate, so you know what it feels like. You know the process. You're licensed. So tell us about the transition between your DC career to your Virginia career and describe your real estate agent career. What does that look like now? And what was it? So how did you get ramped up into what you're doing now?
So it was kind of nice because I was in real estate and I was
Yes.
getting a salary while I kind of got my real estate agent career going.
Oh.
So I started.
So
with
you by
DC
selling the condos, you weren't getting commission, you were just getting your salary.
No, I was getting commission, but it was not a good split.
But were you also getting a salary too?
Yeah, I was
so
still
you
getting
were
a salary.
basically Redfin before Redfin was Redfin.
Pretty much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which means, for you guys who don't know what a Redfin model is, what Redfin does is pays most of their agents just a salary, and they go and do commissionable events, sell houses, get listings, and that kind of thing. And so Redfin basically pays. I don't even know if does Redfin pay a commission. I guess if you had certain platforms,
I
you get a
think they do.
commission. So you were
Yeah.
Redfin before Redfin was Redfin.
Pretty much. At
Oh,
Long
okay.
and Foster. Yeah.
Yeah, Armin Foster. Wow. Very good.
So then I got my Virginia license and I started doing work in Virginia. And then, I was doing that for a while until 2011. I was pregnant with my first child and realized that I could not afford childcare. That it was going to just like,
so expensive.
yeah, it was going to wipe out any money. I think I did the math and I was
Right,
making
right.
like $5 an hour
Right, you have
after
to.
all was said and done.
Yeah, I think I had kids
Still
too.
such a huge.
And at the time, my wife would stay at home, and we figured it out. At the time, this was back. I'm dating myself a minute. Back in the mid '90s, you had to make because at that time child care was $1,000. There was no one. It was probably a couple thousand a month, right? And so, just to break even, to go to work, she had to make at least $60,000 a year, or it didn't make sense.
Yeah, and I think I was making 50.
Right. So if you're not making 60, you might as well stay home.
Yeah.
Be a stay-at-home mom.
or somebody or split or something. Yeah, it's
Which is the
very
best
hard.
job in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kept working, but I went out on my own
Oh, okay,
as
smart.
a solo agent
More flexibility, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weekends, nights, and then your husband could watch, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And my son was sleeping all the time. So I feel like I got a lot of work done in that time of life. And I did like freelance real estate marketing work for other agents I knew.
Smart.
So yeah.
Okay. So that's good. So what is your real estate retail? Let's not talk investment yet. What does your retail investment team look like, or your retail real estate agent team? What does it look like today? How many agents?
So now there's 3 agents on my team.
Oh, good.
So myself and 2 other women. And we did 30 million last year. I think we're going to do like 45 this year.
Good.
Wow. Well, a tough market. That's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's going really well.
Can I get a loan?
Sure. You can get
Can a guy get a loan?
a baby loan.
Baby loan. That's fine. That's our next step, by the way. I want you to know that. Okay, and then when you bought the condo, Alexandria, obviously bad news, right?
Yeah.
Did you convert into a rental, or did you stay there, or what did you do?
Yeah, that was a tricky thing to work through. So my sister and I bought the condo with like one of those
That's good.
0 down, interest only ARMs,
We like those. Adjustable rate mortgage.
adjustable rate mortgage.
Back in the day. Yeah.
She didn't even have a job.
Awesome. So it's basically a broken arm.
Yeah.
Did it have the 4 payments? Like you can make an interest only payment, you can make a negative AM payment, you can make a 30 or a 15-year AM payment. Could you make one of 4 payment choices?
I don't remember that.
Oh, okay.
I think I was paying some principal back.
Okay,
It
that's good.
wasn't much.
All right.
And so, yeah, we were handcuffed to that condo for, I think it was 14 years. I sold it in, I think, 2017 finally. And I had to bring $800 to closing.
Oh, jeez.
But did you convert
I
to-
did. Okay, so we lived in it for a long time, longer than we wanted to. My husband and I, my sister moved out. My husband moved
Thank
in.
goodness. Thank goodness.
Yeah. We had a baby. Then we were gonna have another baby, and so it was time to move out of the condo. We could not rent it for enough money to cover.
Yeah, but was your sister
mortgage.
still on the deed?
Yes.
So did you guys share in this negative cash flow together?
Yes.
Okay.
It was unpleasant.
Okay. Are you still friends today? You have
Yes.
good relationships? Oh,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It was only unpleasant at tax time. Because then we all had to like look at the numbers and like what had happened over the past year.
No, but it's good at tax time. Tax time
Oh,
is
'cause
probably
we had
the
a
best
loss.
time. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Not
true.
only did you have a
That's
loss,
true.
yeah, depreciation.
I think it was
you had all
because-
that stuff's great.
I think it was because the rest of the year is just my sister and I dealing with it.
I want your
And then
I want your condo times 30.
Then
Can I get that?
No.
at tax time, the husbands got involved. And then they were like, what did you guys do? Why did you buy this?
So
So we rented it. When it was time for us to move out, we couldn't buy another house because we had this terrible
Hanging
property.
over you.
This is
So we had to show 2 years of rental income before we could buy a house. So we rented it for 2 years. I
no
mean,
such thing as hard money lending back then. Now is there?
I was going to say, I mean,
Nope.
that would have been the perfect scenario where you couldn't get a
buying
loan
equity.
for another house, but
Yeah.
if you were bought a distressed property, you come and get a hard money loan
go.
to fund that. Yeah, but I mean,
Shocker.
how would you know that?
That's right.
And it's grown a lot recently.
Yeah, but I think the story is we're still building up, right, to the crescendo. It's your EQ, right? You can't be successful unless you go through all these experiences that
Yeah.
you learn from, and whether they're good experiences or bad experiences. Now you have the feeling of what this feels like.
yeah.
So now you're a battle. At this point, you're a battle tested veteran.
Yes.
Going
Let's
through
put it
this
that way.
emotional heartache and losing money. Now, for us, we look at your situation and we sort of laugh because hell, it's a small, tiny condo.
Yeah,
What the hell we care?
yeah,
It's your life.
yeah.
This is a good
Yeah.
part of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it did feel like I'm not good at this. This was a bad investment. Why did I do this? I'll never figure it out.
Honestly, a lot of it is luck. It's like
It's
I
all
bought
timing.
my house in '96. I didn't know anything, and it was
all timing.
perfect timing. I mean, the interest rates
all
were coming
timing.
down. I didn't do anything to do
Yeah.
that. But now I really want to know, what is it about that experience that you said, I want to do some real
Yes,
estate
that's what I wanna
investing?
know.
Because you
That's what I wanna
involuntarily had to be a real estate investor.
Here we come
You
to
know,
this-
I mean,
yes.
that's pretty impressive. A lot of
Yes.
people would be like, I never want to deal with, I mean, you were a real estate agent, but you know, you're thinking, I could make money at this. You know, why, what,
Yeah, what,
after
yeah,
this-
what was that? We're not partly cloudy anymore. We're partly sunny.
I think just a lot of time passed between buying the condo, selling the condo, like making more money selling real estate as an agent, seeing other people be successful in investing.
There you go.
You start
I
to
just had
see
more
some of those
experience.
distressed properties
Yeah.
out there and wondering what's going on. I'm sure. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's pretty good. So then your real estate career took off on the agent side because I'm assuming you got a lot of referrals, right? You got a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, the best thing I did for my real estate agent career was starting my community Instagram page.
There you go.
That's been
How
incredible.
long ago was that?
I think it's been 2 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's good.
So I have, yeah, I mean, it was like a slow, incremental improvements each year in my income and sales. But once I did the Instagram, then I really started to like,
Really start getting.
All those marketing skills, right? I mean, all that stuff. People think, I'm never gonna learn this or use that again, and then of course it comes. Everything you learn is
Well, that's
good.
the one thing I always tell people is that, and you already know, guys already know this, is that whether you're a real estate investor or a real estate agent, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's all a marketing business, right? What are you marketing for? You're marketing for clients because if you think about it, executing the business, getting a listing agreement, staging the house, selling it, and doing this, doing that, putting MLS, you're just executing the business, getting it to close.
yeah.
That's the simple part. The hardest part is getting those clients to come to you. And so if you're good at marketing, it's the same thing on the investment side. You just got to market into a different channel and a different way to do it.
Yeah.
Well, again, that's what I love about our student group and about us as teachers is we have so many different backgrounds. I knew diddly about real estate other than I got lucky in the timing of my own house. But then, you know, right around when the market collapsed, I was retiring as an attorney, had time to get involved. But in our student group, everybody has, we have agents, construction people, non-agents and non-construction. We have every different type of person who brings their experiences because nobody, I mean, look at us as the three partners. Nobody knows all of this. I mean, I guess at a certain point, if you do it long enough, maybe you'll know all of it, but there's specialized people that are good at and really have great experience. And so having teams and virtual teams helps a lot. To learn the things you don't know and execute. So that's the thing. I love learning from the students. I admit it. You know, we learn a lot from the students' experiences as well.
Well, you know, for me, it's very interesting because I categorize the students in different categories. So if I understand their background and how they grew up, what their story is, then I can tell who's got this EQ.
Yeah.
Because I don't care at the end of the day, whether you're an agent, whether you're an investor, whether this or that, how you were brought up, your life experiences, you're either going to grow and become relentless, you're going to have this PMA all the time, partly sunny, and you're going to just dig in. You're going to grind, and hopefully you're going to love that grind because that's how you become successful. There is no shortcuts to success. I always tell people, you don't take the elevator to success, you got to take the stairs. And so this story is very good. And so what I'm going to do, let's segue into your investing career. Because already it's obvious to me that you became battle tested through your life experiences and through everything you've done, your condo, your condo situation. So let's talk about your investment experience. And I do know this, before us, you did 2 flips, right?
Yes.
You had 2 Airbnbs. And now with us, now you got two flips. So
Correct.
let's talk about your previous investor experiences. Why did you even decide to do an Airbnb? Why did you even decide to do a fix and flip? Because you're a successful agent. Why the hell do you want to do this? So explain that.
Well, being an agent is very hard.
Okay.
I think it was,
And I second that, either way.
yeah. Well, I mean, I have 3 kids. I think it was in a conversation with another mom that I know who sells real estate, and we were just talking about how it's very difficult to drop everything and run off with a client when you have kids at home. It's difficult to miss all the stuff on the weekend.
And at night.
And at night.
In the morning. Right. Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a 24/7. So you availability.
Yeah.
Job,
It's a lot of unpredictability. It's a lot of, between children and real estate clients, a lot of like high emotions, all the
Neediness.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big feelings. So I think I was just looking for, I'm always looking to improve my situation. And so it seemed like the next step in terms of creating like some financial freedom, some freedom with my time, using the skills I have that I enjoy. Like I like the renovation process a lot.
Yep.
So I told someone that was what I wanted to do, a friend of mine at work, April, and she is like Little Miss networking, and she's like, I'm going to connect you with someone.
Good.
And so she introduced me to my former partner, Madeline, and Madeline and I did the 2 flips together, and then we bought 2 Airbnbs together.
Oh, okay. How did you find those 2 flips? Do you remember?
MLS.
Yeah, right.
I know.
My favorite. Right. MLS. Okay.
Live and
Well, that's
learn.
okay. That's fine. And then on those 2 fix and flips, did you do okay?
I thought I did okay.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Until I knew what doing okay was.
Right, until we got here. Okay, so that's good. So you had experience, good, and you like those kinds of things. I think that's the other positive aspect about this business is that you have to figure out what you like and what you don't like, and then you just got to focus on what you like. Get great at it, become an expert. But then the things you don't like, kind of like Sam likes to do, is just go ahead and have somebody else do it. Kind of like we were talking about. Maybe you don't like the grind of actually going and finding the properties, even though how important it is. You kind of want to hire that piece out.
Yeah.
And so hopefully you're going to go ahead and do that. All right. So,
Well, look at me. I haven't been in a single one of my rentals or flips. I've had the wheelchair the whole time.
oh no, I told Lauren that you 4-wheel up the stairs.
I wish I could 4-wheel down the stairs, but the up part's not so good.
That wouldn't be a good landing.
But talk about teamwork, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm even now Sam will go in with his phone and look around, and we talk and do whatever. You can accomplish a lot with teams with what your skills are, and focus on your skills and use them. And then it's also fun to learn new skills as well. So yeah, Airbnb was like the big thing to do for a while. Did you?
Yeah.
Was that fun? Was it good? Or
I think that was like purely a result of the interest rates getting really high. So we did the 2 flips, and we had like a little bit of cash now to work with. And then we wanted to buy an investment property. This came on the market in Old Town, just kind of like stumbled on it, and then decided we wanted to buy it as a rental. It didn't really need to be flipped. It was sort of like bare bones, like a little row home.
good for a rental, but not enough profit in it as a flip, basically. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but we couldn't make enough as a long-term rental.
It's a tough.
So we were like, well, let's Airbnb it.
Okay.
And that was my first time doing that. So there definitely a learning curve there as well.
That's fine. It's a different business line. It's a totally different business line.
Yeah.
But then if you compared the Airbnb income to a normal annualized renter, was it more or less equal? What was it?
More, maybe like 20% more.
But was 20% worth it considering
Any extra expenses?
you had some
or-
extra time too, right? You had extra time,
Yeah.
expenses.
I mean, I just wanted to break even,
right.
and I didn't want to pay out of
Right.
pocket.
Was that break even including your loan payment? Or did you own it cash? How'd you own it? You had a loan?
No, I still have a loan on it. Yeah.
Right. So was it break even including the loan payment?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And it's not bad. And it's very expensive there to buy, and hopefully it's going up in value.
Yeah. I have like 200,000 in equity in that house now.
Oh, I need a loan. Need a loan.
Well, we'll have to have another podcast on leveraging.
Yeah, I think
as
so.
well,
Not only that,
Yeah.
we also need to do another one on ownership as well, because I'm going to ask you this question. Do you still own it with Madeline?
No. We decided to do our own thing. We separated business wise.
Was it LLC that owned it? Or did you own it, you and Madeline 50-50?
I think we owned it as an LLC, and I bought her out of that
You did?
property.
Okay.
Yeah.
How'd that process go? How'd it work?
Um,
Did she come to you and say, Lauren, I'm tired of this property, you need to buy me out? Or did you say, Madeline, this ain't working, I need to buy you out? How did that
I
work?
said it, yeah.
You did.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So we bought another one after that, also in Alexandria, a bigger house, and that house just kept getting trashed.
Right.
People would party there,
Right.
you know,
Because
what
you're,
they do.
yeah, 'cause you're in Old Town.
Well, no, this was outside of Old Town, and this house, I think it was too big, and maybe not in like the best part of town.
So then people would probably bring like more than they were supposed to have just as a party house. Yeah, I
Yeah.
see. I see.
A lot of
I see.
parties.
I see.
And I just got tired of dealing with it. People were calling the cops on us. Like phone calls in the middle of the night. It was just like one thing after another.
It's
and
it's TTT. Tenants, toilets, and trash.
Oh yeah, it was bad. So we decided to unload that. So we sold it, and just pretty much broke even on it. I think we owned it for a year, and then
All right, so at this point in time, you've done all these experiences. What, and this is interesting. How does your husband feel about all this? How's that going? All right?
yeah, I mean, no, I think he admires what I've created.
Awesome.
He's been supportive the whole time.
That's what you
Helps me,
Yep.
lifts heavy things for me.
That's pretty good because
He
guys
does the
suck
grunt
as far
work.
as I can
See,
tell.
he does what now? He does
The grunt work.
Oh, perfect. That's what they're for.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't want to do it.
Take out the trash.
He'll always help me.
I like this man. He sounds like I could get along with him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And I mean, now he's seen the whole process. So he probably thought I was crazy for a little while, or knew I was.
I think you have to be.
But now
You gotta be.
yeah. But now it's worked out. So he's appreciative of what, this has created for our family.
What was it? The
Yes,
first time you
I
bought
like that.
one of these investment properties, was your hand like shaking on the? Because I know when I bought my first investment, you know the one I'm
yeah.
talking
Oh,
about.
yeah.
I mean, I was like,
Oh, yeah.
deer in
Oh,
the
yeah.
headlights. I'm like, I know
yeah.
this seems right, and it really should work out, but you're putting yourself on the line.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to sign on the dotted line and take some risk, as good as you may think it looks.
Yeah.
And it does often work, but yeah, you want to eliminate as much risk as well as you can. So,
Yeah, and that's funny. That's fun that you say that. Yeah, it's not fun. But like
I
I
think
told
that's
you,
why I needed Madeline, though, because she's fearless.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I am much more cautious.
Now we're going to get you more
And I needed someone to like
Which is
push
good.
me.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
And so then
And we're still friends, by the way.
you knew I was going to ask that.
That's good.
We
You
are.
knew I was going to ask
That's an
that. And I think,
accomplishment.
no, I think it's a great accomplishment because I think at the end of the day, right, it's the relationships. We got to build
Yeah.
these relationships. And just as important, you got to keep the relationships. You don't want to burn bridges,
Well, it's got to be fun a little bit. You don't want to be fighting with people. And,
even though that's fun sometimes.
well, yeah, that's you and me. We're a little weird like that. But
it's fun sometimes.
That's because you have a lawyer on call.
the line. I'd say I'm a recovering lawyer.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to become like a nice deal making
There you go.
person where everybody wins, not beating people with a club. So I know there's one story I want to mention, but so what made you think, or how did you find these guys? I guess
Yeah,
is
that was the
one
next question because
Oh.
I know the answer, but that was the next question I was going to ask.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, how the heck did you find us?
It was a Titan title Zoom call. And I don't even think I was on the whole thing. But I had put it out there. It was probably on my vision board or something that I wanted I was like, I need a real estate mentor, or an investing mentor, someone who can, because I know I want to do this, but I just feel like despite all my experience
A
in
lot of the skills.
residential real estate, I just felt like I was missing some information.
So it's funny because Titan Title, and since you mentioned the name, we have to give them a plug. Sarah Rodriguez is the owner of Titan Title.
Yeah.
Sarah is on the NAHREP National Education Committee. That's National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. And she owns the title company. And so she wanted to do a cross collaboration with us on a pre-foreclosure seminar for her title company and her title clients. And she's got like 4 offices, 3 in Virginia, 1 in Florida. And so we got to be good friends over our hard money sponsorship at NAHREP, and she got to know us really well. And that's the only reason why that I did that pre-foreclosure seminar and presentation, and she allowed us to plug Clear Sky Education.
Well, that's
So
what we
that's where
talk
that
about
came from.
networking so much,
Yeah.
not just to meet us, but I'm sure you've been to a million events where you can find partners, contractors, whatever it is you need, but then vetting all that can be a little challenging.
Yeah,
We
and
try to
so
do
I
some of
think that I think it had like 50 or 60 people on there, I think, if I remember right. And all it was a talk about, it didn't even talk about the whole entire distress asset gamma, right? It just talked about pre-foreclosures, how to find them, how to identify them, how to buy them, and all that kind of thing. That's all it was. And so it was like an hour, I'm a blabberwalkie. So that took maybe a little longer than should have. And so that's right. That's where you came.
Yeah.
And so I guess the first question is, and then we'll get into Stockton here in a second. Are you glad you did it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yes, that's good.
Oh, good. We can
Well,
use this podcast.
Yeah. Well, you're here.
We were. I watched the Zoom, and I was like, oh, this seems like the perfect
Yeah.
person for me. And then that weekend we were car shopping, so you're like sitting around all the time. And I was like, I'm gonna look for pre-foreclosures while I'm sitting here. And then that was when I found that house near my house
Right.
that popped up, and I was like, oh my gosh! And I texted you,
Yep.
and you actually responded.
Oh, really?
And I was like-
shocker, right?
That's and well, you
Shocker.
as a lawyer, I'm like, oh, I don't want to answer the phone. But this is a key. This is a key. I'm sure you know, as an agent, answering the phone is like 90% of the job, because if
Yeah.
they don't get you, they're going to go on to the next person. Yeah. So
Okay. So I don't think we did anything on that one.
No, but I still like
Right.
keep in touch with that guy.
That is so great.
yeah,
I love to hear that.
I
Yeah.
do, yeah.
Yeah, because it might come back into foreclosure.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to sell it eventually. Of
course
I
he
think
is.
he
course
keeps
he
telling
is.
me it's going to be to me.
That's right. It's going to be to you. Who cares if it's tomorrow, next year, a year? You're going to get it.
well, that's another thing people don't
Yeah.
realize is that you may find something quick, but you may have a lead that takes a long time to develop. But for that reason, you're developing a relationship and
Yeah.
and really can add value to the person you're buying it from and add value to yourself.
Yeah,
Like the win-win.
Yeah, not only that, and I always tell people, for us, our students it's very important for us to do three things, and maybe not in this order. Number one, obviously, get a decent education, and the reason why we started Clear Sky Education was because I got absolutely furious and sick of going to all these investor meetups, listening to all these so-called gurus, and they haven't done any deals in their lives. And when it got to the question answer standpoint, and then the audience with that question, they didn't know what the hell to answer because they had never done any deals. And I can name names, but I won't. And so that's what drove us into the education space, because even though we didn't have to be in the education space, what the hell? We're not.
We're still doing other stuff.
Oh yeah, we're still doing other stuff. We don't, we try and spend as much time on it as we can. So number one, educate and have a good experience. Number two, whatever monies that you paid us to get into this coaching and mentoring program, it's very, very important for us to make sure that that gets paid back by you doing real life deals and you making money, because I feel a little weird by doing a coaching mentoring program, charging somebody, not cheap, money. I want them to get the money back by using our techniques. And then number three, and just as importantly, establish an ongoing relationship, but at the same time, watch the student create real life wealth.
Well, I love this. Raises the story. I think this was yours, the one that had the waterfront with the wooded
That's hers.
area.
That's hers. It's Stockton. We'll
This
get
one,
that in a second.
I've told the story now to a bunch of people, but tell me, maybe I've made it all up in my head. But as one of our discussions with the group, you were commenting, and people, were chiming in again. It's a collaborative thing, and you were talking about, I guess, clearing or cleaning up some of a wooded area so there'd be a nicer view of the waterfront to sell, which of course is, in your agent knowledge. And you were, I think, as I recall, you were frustrated by some of the estimates you got for the work. And somebody on the call said, call these guys. These are pretty good. And and wasn't it like $10,000 difference or some of the large number anyway, 5,000?
15.5, right?
I think it was more. Yeah, it was. I think I ended up paying $5,000 or something, and I had quotes at 20 and 30.
Oh, good.
Right.
I didn't know that.
So-
I thought it was just 10.
I thought it
Good.
was like a 10, but I mean that I that's when I sort of realized, we're trying to directly add value, obviously. And I love that the community, and now we've had, like we've talked to Giovanni, who's done some contracting work actually for students while he's doing his own stuff.
That's what we want.
But I felt really good, like just by having this community who added value. The reason being, back to your point, people are trying to actually do deals. The students are trying to do deals. We have done deals. And so from that process, you can actually make money or save money or whatever. I mean, that's basically, I always think about this that's 10,000 in profit, because at the end,
No, that's what I'm trying to say.
anything that's left over, that's 100% profit.
That's exactly right.
basically.
And it was Giovanni. It was his.
Was it his recommendation? Yeah.
And I actually met with that guy today again. He's helping me with another.
Awesome. But now
I
it's part
think
of
I'd give him a
but now
Christmas
it's part,
gift after that.
but now it's part of your team. And so what people don't realize, 5,000 versus 20 grand, that's 15,000. At the time, that's paper money.
Right.
That is not money.
Right.
That's BS. Where you recover that money is like you did. You flipped out of it. That $15,000 slid right into your pocket. That's when you realize that $15,000.
Right. Because every dollar after you pay all your expenses is profit. So it's like marginal income essentially. So anything, and that's why some people go the wrong way and they do crap work. Or they hire fly-by-night contractors. This is not good to do. It will come back to bite you. The thing you want to do is deliver a good product, but when you're able to find with a virtual team or whatever you want to call it, that's exciting, because that's right into the back pocket, and so you can make a profitable deal more profitable or very profitable, and that's the sort of name of the game.
Well, no, I'm going to roll into the next thing. So we'll talk a little bit more specifically about Stockton. Stockton is a fix and flip that Lauren did, and she made pretty good money on it. And, you actually taught me something. It was very, very funny, because you got find it, fund it, fix it, flip it, right? So, we're always teaching people, find it. All right, pre-foreclosures, all these different levels of distress, right? Financial distress, emotional distress, family distress, conditional distress. Okay, pre-foreclosures, death, divorce, all this stuff, tax lien properties, driving for dollars, looking for vacants and blighteds. And so what does Lauren do to find this property? What did you do?
I took a walk.
Walking for dollars.
I could do rolling for dollars, so we got to put that back in the book.
we got to put that back in the book. Walking for dollars, rolling for dollars. And so when she told me how she found that property, it just cracked me up. And so, you're specific to a certain zip code and certain neighborhood. I had never heard that one before, so I thought that was pretty funny, walking for dollars.
There's a lot of them I see walking around.
There you go. See, now your eyes are open. Right?
Oh, yeah.
We're going through this
on the
tunnel.
brakes. Yeah.
Right. We're an agent. We're just trying to get listings, get as many houses on the market as possible. Now we're a real investor. Oh, you mean you can buy an off-market property?
Right.
You mean every single piece of real estate out there actually is for sale. The one thing about it is the owner doesn't realize it's for sale. And so your eyes have just opened up to a different.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's the best thing about it.
It is, and I want to do a callback if the listeners may or may not have noticed it when you said about the MLS deal. So the multiple listing service, the real estate agents use all the time to put retail properties on, and so your early flips before starting to work with us, I think you made some money. It was fine, but you got them off the MLS, which means anybody could see them, which means what? Anybody could compete for that. Right. So you want to get it at a good price. And it still may work out, don't get me wrong, but it's going to compress. What we love to do on finding the distressed properties is not competing, or it's a smaller or more specialized competition. And so by you walking and putting that sweat equity in, maybe literally, if it was warm out, now you're finding something. Nobody on the MLS is going to see that. That's your, and there may be competition, there may not be. But that's where hopefully your profit and your profit can go up and your risk can go down, because obviously with the MLS stuff, you can still have problems and it can end up being a negative. So then you have that one and another one. How was the other one? Was that also a walking for dollars?
That was from a wholesaler, right?
Wholesaler, yeah. Yeah. Actually, Madeline, I wasn't even on his list. Madeline, this is really nice of her. She got the email
Right.
And she forwarded it to me, and she was
Oh,
like, "You
that's
should
really
buy
good.
this."
Oh, that's good. You should buy this.
And
You
we
said
talk
yes.
about
I will.
that. Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, yeah."
Did you
I
tell
will."
her? Did you tell you're under contract for it?
Yeah.
Okay. So the last thing I want to talk about on Stockton is and Ed said a good point about the competition. I want you to go through the process when you made the offer to buy Stockton and then what happened at that open house that you stayed for. Tell that story.
Well, and even before that, I mean, you knocked on the door basically and started, and then got to that phase.
Oh, yeah,
But
tell
how
that too.
did you just make? Yeah, give us that little
yeah.
vignette.
So I skip traced the owners. So figured out who they were, called the son, because I think I realized the owner was elderly and wasn't living there anymore. So I ended up calling the son.
So you knew it was vacant.
Yes, it
And
did.
it needed some exterior work as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it had
Needed a lot of
vacant
things.
and had a conditional. Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tree issues. We
There you
know
go.
that.
Okay.
Abandoned vehicle in the yard.
Oh, okay. That works.
So, yeah, so I talked to the son, he was like, "Oh yeah, we've been meaning to sell that property for years." Went over the next day, Sam went with me, met with them. And then all of a sudden there was an agent involved as well. So their agent was there.
By the way, we don't like agents.
Well, we
I like
love
to be
it.
the-
when they're
on our
involved.
side.
Yeah.
When they're
I just want to be the only one there.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, it ended up being fine. So the agent advised them to, I wrote them an offer, and he advised them to try and like push it out to more people before accepting my offer. Yes.
Wait a minute. He advised the owners to push it out, or he was going to push it out?
He was going to push it out for them.
Okay,
But he
okay.
told them, "Don't take this yet. Let's try
All
it.
right.
Like, see if we can, stir up some more."
But was he an investor-friendly agent? Like, did he have a decent investor Rolodex, or we're not sure?
It doesn't seem like it.
Okay, keep going. Sorry.
So he said, "We're not going to sign it yet. We're going to have an investor open house this weekend."
Okay.
And then I don't know who, one of you told me to go to it. Charlie. Yeah. So I did. I went to the open house, and I just hung out with the agent the whole time and like chit-chatted with him because no one
2 hour open house, 1 hour? I forgot. 1 hour, 3 hour, 2 hour?
I don't remember. I was there for a while.
But you know why I told you why to go there, right?
Yeah, to see like what the actual competition was.
Back to your favorite word.
Right.
Competition.
Competition. You have to assess what's really going on, and by seeing it directly. Plus, if the owner happened to be there, the agent they see, boy, she's really
Yeah.
into this. She's responsive. She's going to follow. There's all these hidden underlying things that people get, and the fact that you contacted them first and kickstarted it is a huge thing because you develop that relationship. I've seen her. She shows up. She cares. When especially if all things are close,
Yep.
somebody's going to go with you after that experience.
That's right. First in, first out.
Yeah.
That was, that's funny. That was actually brilliant. Now, if I'm that agent, which I'm an agent,
Yeah.
maybe not a very good one, Sam will tell us that we're the worst agents in the world. I have a house, and I really want to represent my client, and that house is, let's say it's worth $1 million, and I want to sell it as is. I might ask their permission if I could put this thing in the MLS at a price at $4.99, open house this weekend. Come and take a look. I'm thinking that might get a few more visitors, huh?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's all about the marketing,
yeah,
right?
that
It's all
didn't happen.
about, and so to me, I don't know that guy had enough incentive, but that's better for you.
Yeah.
That I worked into your advantage.
Yeah.
Bravo. Good story.
Yeah, it took a little while. I think it was like, I can't remember now, a couple weeks to a month for them to actually sign the contract.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great. But they went with the person that could buy it right away, who could close right away, and who was going to probably take good care of their house. And more importantly, did they know that you were local in that neighborhood? Oh, perfect.
Yeah. I told them I live right down the street.
Perfect. That's it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Those are good marketing techniques.
Right, and you were serving a need for them. Obviously, you wanted to sell the thing. You kickstart them like, I'm finally going to take care of this. Like, people don't realize in this space, people are just, well, you can understand why. You had the experience with your condo. I want this thing gone. I want to move all of my life.
Yeah.
Either I want to cash out. I don't want to spend $50,000 or $100,000 fixing it and then holding it and then marketing it and whatever. So
And
this
people
is
come,
not
as people come through my house, nosy neighbors.
what we do is not about, as some people think, like you're trying to get over on somebody, getting some cheap price. You're trying to deliver value. Again, it's a win-win. This person is like, thank goodness, I don't have to think about this place anymore. I've got my cash. It's over. I don't have to do any of that stuff.
That's it.
You win, he wins. That's the way the deals are supposed to work. And I love it. And you feel good that you've done a good thing. And then you delivered a beautiful product, obviously, at the end. You did a lot of effort.
And it was gorgeous, and you did a wonderful job. And so I'm going to ask 2 more questions, and then we'll segue to the final. And I know I'm getting hands over here. So on the fix and flip, you executed it really well. You sold it really well. How much money did you make?
$160,000.
$160,000. Okay. Not so bad.
No.
That's better than kicking the teeth.
It is. It is. But I think that takes us to the next level, though, of what we're actually trying to teach is that now we've created a situation where now you have this thing called a capital stack. Granted, we got to pay some taxes on it. I've got 20 of your condos that I'm depreciating right now that are losing money. So I'm not paying any taxes on it because I've got depreciating assets, right? So now we've got this 160. So now we've got some play money, right? On top of whatever money you put into the deal. Now the next step of the wealth generation in real estate, now we know how to fix and flip houses. We know how to find them. We know how to fund them. Now I've got this capital stack. Now I've got to take this 160. I got to figure out how to invest it and drive my passive income so that eventually my passive income can help me put my kids through school or retirement, whatever you want to do. So now we got to start taking you to the next level of the roadmap that says, Lauren, let's take that 160 and let's invest it.
Right.
Let's figure it out. Maybe let's not buy an Airbnb in Old Town Alexandria that's breaking even. No. Let's not buy a condo in Alexandria that's going to be negative cash flow. Let's figure out how to take that 160, whether we do a tax lien certificate investment in DC or wherever the hell you want to do it, whether we become an asset-based lender, let's get that 160 working for you on the real estate side, knowing that we could put that 160 with investments, other investments like stocks and bonds and all these things. But because we know real estate, let's take that 160 and let's invest it. Passive income. Let's start to grow our passive income. So now that we're on the road to becoming, Lauren, financially free, whatever your footprint is.
Yeah.
That's the next step.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm excited. I'm not excited about the 160 like you are, and you are. Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm just perfectly happy with
On to the next.
160.
On to the
I'm
next.
still excited about that.
Good. I love you for that. But for
But
me,
it's about to be wired out to another house next
Another
week.
deal.
that's fine. So now we're going to
Yeah.
take that 160. Now we're going to cap stack it. We're going to cap stack because the 160 is going to come back. Hopefully your profit's going to be another 100, whatever those numbers. Now we got 260. Now we've got to take that 260 and we got to invest it. Passive income, because now we got to start building up Lauren's passive income base. That's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, and then the other aspect of it is there you have this, like you say, this stack of money. You could put it, buy all of the next house with that, or half of it, or whatever.
right.
But
Whatever.
if you start getting a lot of distressed deals, you can put a little bit on each one and leverage it with hard money loans. So you have a lot of, you already have freedom when you have that stack of money. There's so many different things you can do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you just go to whatever the best use is at that time.
You got it.
If you don't have a lot of distressed properties coming in right now, put it somewhere else that you can actively use it, or just put off pieces of it to get a better deal. So
Okay.
yeah, it's fun stuff.
Well, I tell you, I hate to say this, but my production managers back here are giving us a signal that it's almost time to wrap up. And so the last thing I want to do is, can we just do some, thank you very much, by the way. This has been really good. I'm not sure if this is what you were expecting or not, but you've been a wealth of knowledge. We appreciate having you as a student. I'm really glad you found us. You're one of the only students, or the first students, that we didn't have a personal relationship and knew beforehand. And so let's just end it with some concluding remarks. Start with you, go to you, and then end it with me. And so anything you want to say in conclusion?
What do I want to say? I think that I didn't know that this path, that finding success on this path was possible for me. So I think that this first deal with you guys has been like game changing in terms of my mindset. So I feel really lucky. So thank you.
That's great. What it reminds me of something I was talking with Sam about investing when I was a lawyer and starting to get into real estate. And Sam said his way of investing was up front when you make the deal to lock in the profit.
Yes.
And I was like, because I thought, like, you hear people invest in a restaurant or a stock, maybe you get money, maybe you lose money. And you just reminded me of that mindset change, that the mindset is I'm looking to lock in a profit up front. And it's only a question of how big it is. Is it bigger or smaller? Because in your scenario, something bad could have happened. You could have had a bad foundation and it would have gotten smaller. Sometimes it's bigger. And so there's all risk involved. And then just the only other thing is I love telling your story. It makes me excited about this, our group, about our teaching, that our people are expanding, that a student, not us, helped save you all that money. I was like, this is actually really powerful to have a group of active investors. You and people out there, you should go out to meetups and meet people. But there are a lot of people that are in the learning phase to find people who are actually doing it. And then you're a doer, and there's another, and Giovanni and all these other people, and we're still doing it. So it's to me, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and same with me. I couldn't be more. For me, it's sort of like a teacher, a mentor, giving back to their students, right? And so we all have kids. We all have kids out there, and whether your kids play sports or not, I equate this to watching my kids score their first goal in soccer.
Yeah.
I equate it to watching them hit their first basket in basketball. Because what happens is you just look at their face, right? Their eyes blow up and they're like, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this.
Right.
This is how it goes. And just as important than that is seeing you become successful, because our careers are at the end. I hate to say this. I know it's a shocker to you. I'm sort of on the downside of
Python. I'm not dead yet.
I'm on the downside of a real estate career than the upside, even though we enjoy it so much. But just as important as that is that for you, I knew when you signed up and your background, I knew that you had this thing called the EQ we talked about earlier, that you were going to be successful. But it's a lot different than me or you or Sam thinking that you're going to be successful than for you to actually be kind of successful on it, but then your eyes lighting up and you open up to this new marketplace,
Big world.
this new mindset and everything else. And so for us, it's not even about the money that we're getting. It has nothing to do with the money. It's the fact that you're going to be successful. Your mindset is open. And just as importantly, now you have a different pathway to not only that, but help your family out.
Yeah.
Help this become generational, right? And that's what it's all about for us.
Yeah.
I mean, we all go away, we all die, but we can't, the only thing that we can leave behind is our reputation. We can't take any of this money with us. We can leave a better world behind. And for me, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
End of story. So thank you.
That's beautiful.
God, this is great.